So on the way home, it was about a 3-hour drive. We stopped at a convenience store, and at the time, Jackie was marching an independent guard that was run by my instructor. And I guess I looked so bad. It was a Wendy's. I do remember that. And I looked so terribly upset that she wrote her number down on a napkin and said, "Call me. Call me if you ever need anything." I never got back to that number. I just didn't get a chance. And so that's kind of the story of how she kind of entered into the picture, I guess, as far as seeing what I was going through. Because everybody around me knew. Our band director knew. My guard instructor knew. Everybody. And everybody was trying to protect me and her, and it didn't help. So anyway, moving on. My senior year of high school, I marched the independent guard that my instructor was teaching. And I was still dating this girl. And I was living with my mom, and I was out, and she wasn't. And we get to this rehearsal, and somehow we're sitting down, and I'm like, God, my hands hurt, because I've been spinning and whatever. And Jackie's sitting beside me, and she's like, "Oh, I'll rub them." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever, who cares?" She taught for a very short stint at one of our band camps. She taught dance. And apparently, everybody thought that I could get my way. So if we wanted to get water, everybody was like, "Oh, Carrie, go ask Jackie for water." And basically, I think at the end of the week, I talked her out of doing a dance rehearsal and, like, completely screwing around and not having rehearsal at all on Friday morning. Anyway, I don't know. She could tell that side, maybe. So we're marching, and that at the end of rehearsal, she's like, "Oh, can I get your number? Because, let's go get pizza or something." And I'm like, "Oh, sure." And so I write my number on her hand, and this other girl's like, "Oh, I'll give you my number too." She's in high school, very obnoxious. And so she had both the numbers, and later that week I got an email, and she's like, "Oh, let's get pizza, let's get coffee." And I was like, "Sure." So we went to Ham's. I had chicken quesadillas and a cherry Coke. She insisted on buying dinner. We were going to go back to her house. She gave me really bad directions to her house. We were going to go back to her apartment. She was dating somebody. And she wanted to watch a DVD, but didn't have a DVD player and a TV, only had a computer. I said, "Well, I have a DVD player in my bedroom. Why don't we just head back to my house and watch the DVD?" So we headed back to my house, watched the DVD. Yeah, it was very fast lesbian movement. She stayed the night. My mom made her waffles for breakfast. The person she was dating told her, you know that she would leave this girl for you. Why don't you just go for it? So, worst comes to worst, best comes to best, whatever. We started dating pretty quickly after that. I had to it took a little bit because I had to talk to the other party to kind of close things off, and I was already so distant it was easier for me because I'd already gone through all of that withdrawal and admission to myself that it wasn't really working as a relationship. And so she had to start that, and it was really painful to watch her have to go through that and see her every day and blah, blah, blah. So, we started dating. Our official date that we started dating was November 20th at 10:08 p.m. I jokingly looked at my cell phone and I said, "It's 10:08. You better remember that time. It'll always be important." So that kind of always finds an interesting way into our anniversary. So we dated and we marched in the same guard, which was a lot of fun, but we tried to keep our relationship out of it. The second year we marched, the group was very unkind to us, and the other party marched that year and kind of turned everybody against us, which was really sad because I was trying to fall back in love with the activity after all the negative just emotions that it got put into it, and just going through a lot in my personal life as far as friends at school and things like that. And Jackie was dealing with some things left over with her mom, and nobody really seemed to realize that there was more going on with us than met the eye, and it was just a rough season, and we decided not to march after that. We started teaching together when I was a senior in high school, so that was the first year we marched together. I think she could tell me if I'm wrong. Oh no, this is a funny story. I did theater, and I was stage managing. We started our musical right after we started dating, and I jokingly told all my friends. They knew who she was because most of them were band kids, and they had seen her at band camp 2 years prior. And I was like, oh, she's stalking me. Which, another good friend of mine, it was an endearing term, and it was like, I was her stalker. It was a joke. Anyway, I told all my friends that, like, this girl's stalking me. She's stalking me. And I wasn't officially out in school, but it was kind of like, you gotta be blind not to know it. Anyway, so she came to a show, and I want to say I did lights or something. It was a piecemeal. And everybody was like freaking out, and they're like, you may beat her up and all this mess. And she was kind of freaked out because everybody's giving her these weird looks. That was right before we started dating. By the time the spring musical came around, which I was stage managing, it was like March something. It was like right before the musical opened. It was like National Carrie Coming Out Day. So I told all my friends, and they were like, oh, whatever, you know. And my really good friend then was in complete denial, and I had to like corner her in a bathroom because she kept thinking that we were trying to tell her that she was gay. It was all about her. Anyway, she's not my friend now, unfortunately. I do have one really good friend from high school, and I'm very, very thankful for her because, I don't know, we just read each other very well. So, Jackie spent a lot of time hanging out in the theater. The night the show opened, she stayed backstage with me and kind of hid in the props closet. It was a lot of fun because that was my group of friends, and they really, really accepted her and loved having her around. She decorated the set. We did West Side Story. She did all the graffiti for us. I mean, she got to see the entire production that I wrote, directed, acted in, stage managed. I basically did it for my thesis, my honors thesis. She got to see that. So she got to see a lot of who I was very quickly. I think, so we started dating in November, and by February, I had a ring on my hand. She's one of those typical lesbians who moves fast. But we both, in the beginning, made the commitment, I think, to leave other people. And I think it was very clear at the beginning that we were willing to sacrifice a lot to be together. I can't tell her coming out story. She would have to. But it still continues. I lost my entire side of my dad's family. I don't speak to them anymore. It's the unspoken thing with my mom's family, but they're very, very accepting of her. Very accepting. And her dad seems accepting enough of me. But my family loves her. It's a known that she's coming with me. So, there's been a lot of bad. And I know there are people who have great stories who have very, very little negative. I grew up in a little town. And, yeah, I faced a lot of oppression, but I'm still proud of who I am. And I'm very happy that I made it through all that. So if you're out there, you'll make it. It's going to be okay.